If I would do that one, I know you gotta hang a hold of the other glad on get closer, slower.
I'm waiting on you, Lord, though it is painful, but patiently I will wait. I will move ahead, bold and confident, taking every step in obedience while I'm waiting. I will serve you while I'm waiting. I will worship while I'm waiting. I will not fail. I'll be running the race, even while I wait. I'm waiting on you, Lord. I am peaceful. I'm waiting on you, Lord, though it's not easy, no, but faithfully I will wait. Yes, I will wait. I will move ahead, bold and confident, taking every step in obedience while I'm waiting. I will serve you while I'm waiting. I will worship while I'm waiting. I will not fail. I'll be running the race, even while I wait.
Starts to get
I
big
will
quick.
move ahead, bold and confident. I'll be taking every step in obedience. Yeah, while I'm waiting, I will serve you while I'm waiting. I will worship while I'm waiting.
Go this way with the camera. I don't want anybody to see what we're going to show.
Oh, okay.
You could just turn the TV off.
All right, everybody. I'm gonna pick up from where I left off last night with my live feed. I guess a lot of people made some phone calls today to the places I had on there to make phone calls about Mackenzie Taylor and the case. And unfortunately, some people contacted me and told me that the Fayette County Sheriff's Office, Ryan McFarland, and Mike DeWine's office said Mike DeWine's office told them that it was the sheriff and the prosecutor's case, and that they couldn't do anything about it. So I see that we got that wall I was talking about my daughter's case, and Ryan McFarland told somebody that called that they had stuff. That's what they said. They have stuff. They're working on this case. Let me tell you something. First of all, they ain't got nothing. They can sit there and lie every day and keep telling Mike DeWine's office, BCI, all these people that they have something, and they ain't got nothing. Y'all heard Vernon Stanford himself say they were waiting on a key piece of this puzzle. That's what he said, a key piece of this puzzle. And he told me that it would be nice if somebody just walked in there and tell them they did it. I'm going to tell you right now, those three people I mentioned are not going to walk into that sheriff's office, sit down in a chair, and admit to a murder. Ain't going to happen. Number two, how can you have something, okay, like I said, we all know that it's an arson. 100% an arson. It's been proven on arson. I read it to you guys where it said there it's never going to be an accident. So, the fire and the arson and what the fire marshal has is evidence. See, the fire marshal came down here and he did his job. His job was to determine if this fire was an accidental fire or if it was an arson. Okay? He did his job. Then he went up because there was a fatality in that arson. He went up to my daughter's room and he did his evidence there because he has to determine why Mackenzie didn't make it out of the house and other survivors did. He has to determine the piece of that is there had to be a reason that child didn't wake up, and there had to be a reason that child wasn't at a window screaming, but 2 adults got out of the house and a dog got out of the house. See, like I told you guys this before, they made sure they saved the dog. That's what they saved. They saved the dog, left the child. Now, I love animals. I'm not putting it down as that way, but I love animals. I got cats. I've had dogs. But still, you know, you got to decide dog, child. I would choose my child. That's just me. I would choose my child. So, like I said, the dog was saved. The dog had no smoke, no singed hair on it. It was never inside that house in a fire. But that's not what the mother said. The mother said the dog was in the front room. We all heard that tape. But we go back to the fire marshal. Like I said, he is to determine that there is no way impossible of any kind of an accident. He has to look at every detail in that house. And then he has to go upstairs into my daughter's room. And he has to take photographs. And he has to collect his evidence of why that child didn't make it out of the house, but the other 2 people did. Okay? Now, we all know, and I proved this, and I've got the proof right here in this binder. We all know that Fayette County Sheriff's Office, A, they did not collect evidence from that scene at all. They have not one piece of evidence from that scene. And I can tell you right now, I can prove that. They don't have nothing out of her room. They don't have no sheets, no pillowcases, no clothes. Not the nightgown that she was in. Not the clothes that she was in when she went to school, which is the picture on the reward poster. That shirt, that pants. They have zero. Matter of fact, when I show you what I've done in a year, I'll show you what I found that they should have had that I turned over to them. So if they do have anything, it's what I've given them. Because like I said, they didn't have nothing. They had zero. That's why I keep telling y'all, That's why that deputy had his foot pushed up on a bumper, chit-chatting with a boyfriend, brother-in-law, who's a deputy, because they didn't do nothing. He didn't go in that house. He didn't go up in my daughter's room and collect one piece of evidence. Not one piece of evidence from the Fayette County Sheriff's Office did anything come out of my daughter's room. And I can prove that. We all know that Vernon said, exact words, the coroner was too old and fragile. We didn't let him go up there. Detective Brown didn't go up there. We found out later that the coroner wasn't old and fragile. He was 44 years old at the time of my daughter's death. He passed away at 55. So, and even at 55, that's not old. So, nothing was collected there. Then they didn't talk to a single witness around the facility of where the fire happened. We all know that. I've proven that. They didn't do lie detector tests on certain people. And when they did a lie detector test, see, I noticed something about the lie detector test. Lie detector test asks certain questions. The only questions those lie detector tests ask, because I have them right here in my file, is all about the fire. There ain't one question about Mackenzie. There ain't one question about, did you hurt Mackenzie? Were you in the room with Mackenzie? Did you touch Mackenzie? Did you remove her clothes? There is not a single question in this lie detector test that I even took that talks about Mackenzie. All it talks about, the fire and the fire itself. Who set the fire? Did you know who set the fire? Did you know the fire was going to be set? Did you know that? Did you pay somebody to set the fire? That's the questions that was asked. Fire marshal already proved it was an arson. So, nothing, not a single question about Mackenzie in those lie detector tests. Not a single thing was collected out of her room. So, wait, don't play that. Because I'm going to go over here.
Start moving around.
So, yeah. So, now, sheriff's office, I would love to see what you have, but you're not going to show me because you keep using the excuse that, oh, he'll share it to the community. That's their excuse. That's the only excuse they have. You'll share it to the community and you'll ruin everything. By God, let me tell you something. I started this case with my daughter's murder in January 7th, 2017. And I told this community and everybody, I said, I will get to the bottom of my daughter's death. That's what I promised everybody. And that I would not quit until I get everything I need. The first thing that I recovered, facts and fines. The first thing was the coroner's report was never filed. Never filed with the courts. It was never given to the sheriff's office. Now, here's my question about this, and I want to explain each thing here. The coroner's report. I read that coroner's report. If you go back in one of my live feeds, you'll see where I talk about the coroner's report. That coroner's report, the sheriff's wife gave a statement on. The sheriff gave a statement on that coroner's report. Now, that sheriff never asked about that coroner's report. Now, he knew he gave a statement. He knew his wife gave a statement on that coroner's report. But then you don't even ask for it to put in to the files of Mackenzie of a case that you're investigating. Don't make no sense here. Sorry, but that don't make no sense. You know you gave a statement. The coroner was standing there and he's taking a statement from you. Then your wife comes up there and your wife gives almost a 2-page statement. And you don't even know that that your detective that you put on that case has that coroner's report. And let me tell you something, that coroner's report, if they'd had it, because that coroner's report, if I'm right, and I don't want the person, I know this person is watching, but I think that coroner's report was wrote up either the day of the death of my daughter or the day after. And if that coroner's report would have been filed, even if it would have been filed within that week of Mackenzie, because it was 1 week before they told everybody it was an arson homicide. So that coroner's report would have been handed over to the sheriff's office. They automatically knew it was A, suspicious case. B, they would have went upstairs and got the evidence they needed out of my daughter's room. But I'm the one that found this. I found this. The coroner's report that was never filed. Okay? Number 2. Clothes destroyed of the murder victim. Okay? Now, the clothes were destroyed of the murder victim. What happened there was, I asked the Fayette County Sheriff's Office, the sheriff and Ryan McFarland. I said, where are my daughter's clothes? I want touch DNA done. Oh, Mr. Branham, we lost them. Give us some time, we'll find them. We don't know where Detective Brown might have put them. That's what they said. And I'm telling you right now, they're going to call me a liar. But I'm telling the truth. And if you hook me up to a lie detector test, I guarantee I'll pass it. Guarantee I'll pass it. I asked about those clothes, and they kept saying they were lost. And then they kept saying they were lost. So I thought, you know what? Why not just call the coroner's office that my daughter's body went to, and let me ask them. So that's what I did. I made a phone call. It took me 5 minutes. While they're still searching for the lost clothes, it took me 5 minutes. And in 5 minutes, I called the coroner's office. I said, I'm Mr. Branham. My daughter, Mackenzie Taylor Branham, came into your office 11 years ago, and I want to know where my daughter's clothes are. Oh, Mr. Branham, they were destroyed. What do you mean they were destroyed? She was murdered. Yeah, they were destroyed August 15th, 2006. 3 months after my daughter's murder. Now think about this. The sheriff's office don't even have the coroner's report. So that means when these clothes were being destroyed, right here, it was still in a full investigation. Or was it? That's a good question. Okay, so they destroyed my daughter's clothes. I found that out. Hell, the sheriff's office thought they were lost. Now, somebody, the coroner would have had to report to the leading investigator of the sheriff's office and the fire marshal that he was destroying those clothes to make sure they didn't need them or anything before they got destroyed. No communication. Not even paperwork was done. And I have all the coroner's paperwork was done where that coroner for Fayette County didn't sign the paper saying, go ahead and destroy them, we don't need them. No. So then, when I find out my child's clothes are destroyed, I go to the sheriff and I said, well, why was my daughter's clothes destroyed? I want to know why those clothes were destroyed. Mr. Branham, they were wet and singed. Wow, wet and singed. That's what he said. They were wet and singed. Now everybody knows when Vernon said they were wet and singed, I wasn't going to accept that. Because I knew they brought my daughter out of the house, and I knew a fire's oath is life before property. So that means before they put water on that house, they were getting my kid out of that house. So I don't know where the water would have came in. It wasn't raining that night neither. So they were wet and singed. That's what he said. So I thought, boy, I got to see if I can get those pictures of my daughter at the morgue. So I fought, and I fought for probably 2 months, 2 or 3 months. I fought with Montgomery County to get those photographs. And when I got those photographs, because they had to, see, here's the thing about a crime scene. Whoever takes pictures, they actually own those pictures. Nobody can take them. They don't have to share them with law enforcement. They own those pictures. So that person said, you know what? I like what this father is doing. So I'm going to sign those photographs over to Mr. Branham. And that's what he did. Right there is the receipt. Right there is the receipt where they gave me the photos. And then they sent those photos to me on a CD. Okay? And I got permission. And then, like I said, right here is the receipt from the coroner's office saying what exactly they were sending to me. It took me 3 months of fighting, calling. So when I got the photographs, I blew them up off the CD, and I got on a computer and I blew the photographs up. And guess what I found? Well, I found out that my daughter's clothes were not wet and they were not singed. So now, why did the sheriff tell me my daughter's clothes were wet and singed? And he even put, it's even in the newspaper, even in the paper. They were wet and singed. Even in Dr. Gay's report, wet. So, Vernon come to my house about 2 months ago. He sat down with me and I asked him, I said, man, those clothes ain't wet and singed. I can prove they're not wet and singed. I said, now, why didn't Dr. Gay remove those clothes as evidence and put them in a bag? And he said, well, I don't know why he did what he did. He's dead. I can't ask him. So I went on about it, and I kept pushing for it. And he said, in the newspaper, I want to go back. In the newspaper, his exact words was what?
It was irrelevant, didn't
They were irrelevant
it?
to the case. Okay? But then he contradicts himself and says, well, I wish I'd have had the opportunity to look at those clothes. That's what he said. Well, guess what? Guess what Mr. Branham found out? Vernon Stanford was at the hospital with the coroner looking at my daughter's body and watched, because I said, well, it looks like my daughter's clothes were pulled off of her and somebody put them back on her. And he said, no, Dr. Gay didn't remove those clothes. I said, what do you mean he didn't remove those clothes? Well, Mr. Branham, I was standing right there. All he did was lift up your daughter's panties, looked inside of them, put them down, rolled her over, picked up the other side, set it down. God's honest truth, and you can hook me to a lie detector test. Now, he just told everybody in this community that he never had the opportunity to see those clothes. And then he wished he would have had the opportunity. He was right there. Right there with my daughter's body. Right there standing with the examiner, Dr. Gay, who did a primary examination of my daughter. That's where Dr. Gay was, and that's where Vernon Stanford was. In that room. And I knew in my mind that that had to be true, because I worked right across the street, and after they came and told me my daughter was dead, I went straight home, because that's where Vernon told me to go, and in 5 minutes, his wife pulls up. The same wife that bashed me on a coroner's report and told 3 lies, and I proved those lies. The sheriff's wife tells lies on a coroner's report during a homicide. And I thought to myself, man, did she give that report at the crime scene, or did she give that report at the hospital? Because she was there at my house so quick. And I can tell you why I know she didn't give that report at the crime scene. Because of one reason. When she was at my house, I asked her, because, at the time, all I knew was my daughter died. And I didn't know Marianne had died. And I thought, when I told her on the phone when she called me to get her ass in that house and save my baby, don't let my baby die. That is a God's honest truth statement I made to that mother. Get in that house, don't let my baby die. What are you doing on the phone with me? That's what I told her, exactly what I told her. Well, when Joy Stanford came to my house, I asked her. I said, Mackenzie, I know she's dead, but did Marianne make it out? I haven't been there yet, so I don't know. Wait a minute, man. You ain't been there yet. So, she didn't even know about Marianne, or that's what she said. But she gave a statement to the coroner about me. That's what it was. Actually, the whole statement was about me.
Yep.
It was about me. Now, think about this. This coroner's report. How did you know it was... Why are you already pointing the finger at somebody when you ain't yet been told it was an arson or a homicide? Because fire marshal ain't at the scene yet. He didn't get to the scene until 4:34. You already are pointing fingers, and you ain't even been ruled an accident or a homicide yet. Even Dr. Gay try to call it an accident. And I have proof of that because my daughter's body went to Montgomery County, from Montgomery County back to Fayette County, from Fayette County back to Montgomery. Who does that? Let me tell you something. When a death of a fire that is suspicious, and I know they knew it was suspicious because the firemen knew it was suspicious. That's why they called the fire marshal. So they already knew before my daughter even left that scene that it was suspicious. Why did my daughter go to Fayette County Hospital? She should have automatically went to Montgomery County. Why? Number one, our hospital ain't set up for a morgue. We don't even have a morgue. We don't have nothing to handle something like that. But that's where she went, Fayette County Hospital. Then they register her as a patient, which you don't register a body dead. They don't get registered. She should have went straight to Montgomery County Coroner's office, but she didn't. But eventually she did go to Montgomery County Coroner's office as an accidental fire, and then was sent back to Fayette County. They didn't even touch my child at the first time. They didn't touch her because they were saying it's just a child that died in a fire. Then she comes back to Fayette County, and then it's like, oh shit, we made a big mistake. This is a homicide. Send her back to Montgomery County. We got to have tests done. Now, think about it. They knew it was suspicious. They knew it was a crime scene before that fire marshal got there. I guarantee you. They knew it. And I've already read the Ohio State law book where it states in that book that all fires and a fatality in a fire is supposed to be treated as an arson homicide first, then accidental. Just like when the fire marshal comes there to rule it an arson or an accident. He determined all the accident parts first, determined it was no accident, and then he was able to determine it was an arson. Same thing with my daughter. Same thing with my child. But it didn't go that way. And I have this. I'm telling you guys right now, I have this on tape. Okay? So, next thing. Number 3. Witnesses, 6 witnesses. Since I started this case, I found 6 witnesses that were up during that fire. Marianne knocked on their door, or she at least talked to them. 6 of them. Never ever been questioned by one detective from Fayette County Sheriff's Office. Photos of the house on fire. Right here's that photo. I've showed it before. There's a photo of that. Never talked to that witness that took the picture while the house was on fire. So there's another thing I figured, you know, I've recovered facts and finds. Number 5, another person of interest. I've got the mother's brother saying there was another person at that house that night. Okay? Nobody's checked into that. Still today, nobody's checked into it. Okay? DNA contaminated. My daughter's they found DNA. It was a small amount. They sent it to the lab. The lab sent it back to the office. It sat for 6 years. Never being asked about. No one asked about it. Nobody asked, hey, those test results in from Mackenzie Taylor Branham that was murdered here in Fayette County. And think about it. The sheriff and the detective both had been up there in Montgomery County on other cases here in Fayette County and never asked about Mackenzie's DNA. So it became contaminated because it went to the wrong person and then to the wrong person again. 6 years never asked about it. I found that out. Then, hair samples. Number 7. They destroyed her hair samples September of 2006. There went my fan. Sorry, guys. technical difficulties. So 7 years, or number 7, hair samples destroyed, September 2006, a month after the clothes were destroyed in August. Okay? So that's another thing I found out investigating my daughter's murder. Then we go over here, because it goes on and on. Over here, number 8. I find out that the red pickup truck that the boyfriend owned was sitting in the middle of the road, keys in it, running, and the door is open. That's number 8. Number 9. I go to them and I ask them, I thought, you know what? All this stuff's missing. Man, I better ask some other questions. So I asked, where's that ladder that Kenny used? Now, this ladder was 8 foot or 10 foot. I'm going to say it probably was 10 foot because it hung out the back of the sheriff's truck when I was there. So they collected it as evidence. This ladder, guess what? Missing. Can't find the ladder. Don't know where it's at. Right there. Number 10. Tapes and documents missing. And I know this is true because BCI detective that was working on the case kept calling me and she said, you know what? I keep calling the Fayette County Sheriff's Office and I keep telling them I have A, B, D, E, but I don't know where C is. Where is C? Why haven't you given me C yet? So documents missing. Tapes. Tapes are missing. I gave them tapes of that mother talking about that fire. Now they did find one, but they ain't found the other one. Okay? Next thing. I figured out in my daughter's murder. No evidence collected by the Fayette County Sheriff's Office. I have proven that. They ain't got nothing. I'm telling you right now, they ain't got nothing. They even admitted they talked to over 100 people. They talked to 100 people, over 100 people, thousands of dollars, and the only thing that sheriff can say, I have no persons of interest, nobody's a suspect, let's move on. But ain't it funny, the fire marshal ain't saying that. He ain't saying he ain't got a suspect. He ain't saying that he ain't got no person of interest. The only person is the Fayette County Sheriff's Office saying they have nobody. So how can you have no person of interest, no suspects, but you got evidence? You ain't got no evidence. You're a liar. Number 12. I found out that my daughter Mackenzie had a blue nightgown on that night before she went to bed. But that's not what she came out of that house with. She come out of that house with a tank top and a pair of blue panties and a pair of socks on both feet. And I kept telling them that is not how my daughter goes to bed. That is not how my daughter sleeps. But the person that came forward with the blue nightgown, they ain't even brought in and questioned. And they've had enough time. They've had enough time to put their questions together of what they want to ask and how to ask it, and even schedule for a lie detector test done. Ain't happened. Ain't happened 30 days. Ain't even happened. Next thing I had found out, investigating my daughter's murder, is Mackenzie had no food and no urine in her stomach. Now, my question is, why did my child go to bed with nothing to eat and hardly anything to drink? Now, the urine, which was 5 milliliters, and the food was 60 milliliters. And if y'all want to look at what that is, I can go get it. But 5 milliliters is actually a teaspoon. 60 milliliters is actually a quarter of a cup. She had no food and no urine in her system. Now, everybody's going to do like Vernon did. Well, maybe she used the restroom. No, she didn't use the restroom. Because I looked at the coroner's report. Right here, the autopsy report, toxicology report, and it said that she had stool in her colon. Okay? Form of stool. in their colon. Now everybody knows it takes anywhere from 24 hours to 72 hours to form stool before you gotta use the restroom. So I found this out. Okay? And that was something they should have known back. All that's, you know, an autopsy report come out, they should have known that. And they should have asked that mother, wait a minute, man. Why didn't your child have any food? Why didn't you feed your daughter that night? Why didn't you give your daughter that night something to drink? Okay, 8 years old, and you're telling me she only had a quarter of a cup of food in her, which would have been, she might have ate lunch at school. Might have ate lunch at school, but she didn't have no dinner. Not one drop of food that night for dinner. And she didn't have nothing to drink other than her uncle that was there the night of the fire said she took a few sips of his tea. Now, when the autopsy report come out, it showed she had caffeine, which could be the tea. We all know caffeine's in tea. A few sips matches 5 milliliters. And even that uncle, after we talked, said, if I'd have known Mackenzie didn't eat, you know I would have took her and got her something to eat. And honestly, I wish he would have. Maybe she'd have lived that night. If he would have took her to Waffle House or something, got her something to eat. But he didn't know. She got sent to bed. Nothing to eat. No food in her. So, now, with no food in her, and I looked this up the other day. No food in her. No liquids in her. If you give that child Benadryl, which can't be detected, or another substance of drug, that will automatically, within 20 minutes, knock her out cold. She ain't got nothing. There's nothing there to break it down or anything. It's pure right in her. That's what my child had in her was Benadryl. I guarantee it was Benadryl. Or it was Dimetap. But it was one of the drugs that knocked her out. But it hit her faster because she had nothing in her system but the drug that can't be tested. See, and that's another thing too I found out too. I can go on and on and on. Another thing I found out was I asked him, I said, hey, Fayette County Sheriff's Office, did you guys get the computer out of the fire? That's what I asked him. Did you get the computer out of the fire? Well, why would we get the computer out of the fire? Oh my God. Because everybody knows in a computer there's a hard drive. Hard drive. Alright. Wouldn't it have been nice to get that hard drive out of there and find out what all that mother was on the computer looking up? Maybe she was looking up Benadryl.
Yep.
Maybe she was looking up how to start a fire. And here's what they told me. This is the funny part. Well, we didn't know to do that stuff. I said, okay, fine. I said, now let me ask you another question. Did you take pictures? You know, because this is downstairs. I haven't told this yet. I said, did you take pictures of the window that Kenny supposedly went out? Well, why would we do that? Well, wouldn't it be nice to know if the glass was inside the bedroom or outside the bedroom? Because that would have determined how the window was busted. And then I said, wait a minute. Did you take pictures of his injury? Why would we do that? Well, let me see. Here's why. I'm going to show you a demonstration. Here's a piece of glass. This is a piece of glass. Okay? And I would want to know, most people when they cut themselves, because they're in a hurry, they're trying to, you know, make like they got hurt, they would cut down. Okay? They would cut down. Down, down. Okay? That picture would have showed that. Number two, if he'd have put his hand through a window, the glass would enter from the bottom and come up. So it would be an upward cut, not a downward cut. Well, we didn't know to do that. Hell, we didn't know to take photographs back then in 2006. But they took photographs of Jesse James with a big old camera, big old light. But they couldn't take photographs of Kenny's injuries. And I read this in this report a bunch of times in this report that you're supposed to take photographs, all injuries. Supposed to bring the suspects that survived the fire into an interview room and start interviewing them and collecting clothing, swab their hands.
Hey.
Are you watching this?
Yeah, I see it. I'm trying to.
What's going on?
This guy's like
This guy on here is
talking crap.
about, he's getting people upset.
Yeah, I'll
Just
cut your sheriff down,
Cut
and
the sheriff down and
hopefully he hung. Ain't he dead? Hopefully he hung himself. And
saying stuff he really probably shouldn't be saying.
Alright. That guy's from a country.
Yeah, I know.
yeah, you,
Okay. Alright, so, like I said, there's the evidence I proved. This is what I collected out of all these years. This is what I collected in 1 year. The evidence I collected in 1 year. 1 year. That's what I collected. Right there. Right there. Now, Fayette County Sheriff's Office didn't collect nothing. Didn't collect nothing. So, how could they sit there and tell people on a telephone that they have stuff? What do you have? What I gave you? That's the only thing you could have is what I gave you. So, I just wanted everyone to see what has been collected and the story behind what I collected, how I found it, and then the purpose behind it. Alright, so now we're going to go to my next thing. This is the thing. Everybody, I want everybody to know that I keep telling you guys there's a roadblock. And that's why Mackenzie's case is not going to go any further because of that roadblock. So, hey, all you got to do is block him.
Oh, I'm just watching it.
But I'm saying all you got to do is block him and then he can't say nothing.
well, we would have
Linda
to,
knows how to block somebody from the page or from even public.
We would have to.
You can report them, you can block them. Alright, so, because I'm pretty sure it's one of them because they got to have
That's what
that on
say.
there that somebody's making a threat so they can shut this down.
That comment's been made a couple times.
And like I said, I've told everybody, if you're going to make a threat, you will be deleted from the page. You will be removed immediately. Making any threats on my live feeds. So, what I got here is what I want to show everybody. And what I want to show everybody is this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful roadblock.
Oh, what's your password?
Huh?
Password.
Oh, I don't know. Right now, you can't. You got to put a bad word in. And don't show it.
Don't show that. Give me that
Her
phone
name right there.
Yeah.
Is that guy still on there?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Did he make a comment about me? Saying what I said?
Rest in peace, Mackenzie. That's it.
Well, I can't have the threats.
He said threats to the police.
Huh? It don't matter.
To the police.
It doesn't matter.
That's just as bad, yeah. Get me threatening the cops. Alright, now come over here.
Oh, don't show me.
Come over here. Take this and come over here.
Don't try to get
Take this and over there.
Good. Can't see nothing.
No.
You see me?
I can see you.
Alright guys, this is it. This is like, I keep telling everybody how Mackenzie is. And I keep telling you how Mackenzie doesn't want this to go away. She wants justice for herself. So, a certain person, of course Mackenzie, laid that hand on their hearts. Bam. So, this is probably one of the greatest pictures of all time. And then we're gonna watch it. We're gonna listen to what they're talking about. And then think about what I just told you guys about what I found in my daughter's death. Okay? And you got to remember one thing. One thing everybody needs to remember about Mike DeWine. Okay? Mike DeWine is the state's attorney general's office. His job is to look over all cases. That's his job, to look at every case. His job also is to make sure those cases are being handled the right way. That is his job. And we put him in that position. We put Mike DeWine in that seat. So it's not like he climbed up any ladder or anything like that, or got hired or anything like that. We voted him into that seat. And his job is to make sure that all cases in the state of Ohio and the state's attorney general's office in Cincinnati and Cleveland, they're all supposed to make sure that every case is handled the right way. Okay? Now, he just told people today when they called, or he didn't, his secretaries or whatever they are to answer the phone, told people today that it was the sheriff's and the prosecutor's case, that there was nothing they could do. That's what he said. So I'm going to tell you, here's why Mike DeWine won't do anything. And I'm going to show you this beautiful, I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful picture. Does everybody know who that is right there with Mike DeWine? Does everybody know who that is standing there with Mike DeWine? Right there is the Fayette County Sheriff, and right there is Mike DeWine. So we're going to go ahead and play this, and I want everybody to listen to this so you understand what they're talking about. What they're talking about here. Uh-oh. That was me. Whoop. Hold on.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah, technical difficulties. I'm not... I don't know much about...
What did we do?
I got to get back on that thing.
Yeah.
This is probably the easier way to do it.
Stand by.
Yeah, stand by.
There you go.
Alright. Sorry about that, you guys.
Right.
Go ahead, yeah. Oh my God.
Get your finger off the button.
I'm pushing the wrong button. I'm sorry. I'll get it right here in a minute. I'm trying to find the volume. I want to make sure everybody can hear it. I think they can. I'm not going to touch it no more. I'm sorry, you guys.
Don't touch it.
Look at there. There's a beautiful picture. Right there. Beautiful picture.
Ohio Police Officers Training Commission. Also Sheriff from Stanford, Fayette County, Chairman Ohio Police Officers Training Commission.
Now, he just said, Fayette County Sheriff running a stamp for a Police Officer Training Commission.
Cleveland.
Police Officer Training. He trains police officers.
A year ago, I formed the Ohio Attorney General's Advisory Group on law enforcement training. And I charged them, asked them to take a fresh look at police training in the state of Ohio. In response, the group recommendations. This was the report that came out 9 months ago.
You go blame it on me.
In response to the group's recommendations, we're increasing the number of hours significantly. As you see here, these are hours for basic training hours. We've gone from 605 to 653 next year. The training hours we're at for this year, 4 hours. This is the continuing training to every police officer. There's about 34,000 police officers in the state of Ohio. every police officer, as of this year was 4. The working group came back with recommendations to significantly increase this, saying that we were not keeping up with what other states are doing. As a result of that, the General Assembly
Not keeping up with other states.
11 hours to be reimbursed in 2016 and 20 hours in 2017.
And this is 2016, 2017.
That will continue to increase. We have provided in regard to the 11 hours, we break it down as follows. Police officers must take 4 hours of community police relations, 2 hours of crisis de-escalation with a focus on mental illness, 2 hours of constitutional use of force, and 1 hour of human trafficking. And then that leaves 2 hours of any general law enforcement topic. That is up to the local department. So that's what the lineup will be next year. These hours correspond to the recommendations that were made by the working group. That these were areas where the working group felt there should be more emphasis. The advisory group also recommended the minimum number of hours to be completed basic trainings. We saw it there a moment ago. They go from 605 to 653 in 2016. Let me talk about these specific areas that are getting more emphasis and a little more detail. The advisory group wanted to ensure that peace officers are trained to deal with people who may be experiencing a mental health episode. As I mentioned earlier, in 2016, this training will include 2 hours of crisis de-escalation that focuses on mental illness. Next, community police relations.
Did you hear that? Community police relations.
4 hours on community police relations.
4 hours of extra training on community police training.
Bias training, so that officers can recognize how one's own inherent biases towards people, based on characteristics such as race or age, may influence decision making.
Wow. Wow.
4 hours of community police relations includes procedural justice, which focuses on how police can strengthen bonds with the communities they serve, and concepts.
Can bond with the community.
A program which is designed to educate officers on principles and practices of human effectiveness, purpose-driven work, resilience, positive attitude, and sound judgment. Or to put it in other language, it's an emphasis on the guardian function of a police officer, the guardian of the community. Next, let me talk about the scenario and stress-induced training. In addition, the advisory group had recommended increased use of force training. Consequently, in 2006, all current officers will be required to take 2 hours of constitutional use of force training. Now, let me also mention something that the Ohio Police Officer Training Academy and Commission has done. Beyond what these hours that are required, OPATA has worked to continually to increase opportunities for police officers around the state to take scenario and stress-induced training, and these courses are for free. We have, for example, 11 mobile academies that can provide this very valuable training. These academies can go directly to the local police department. This is a particular benefit to the smaller sheriff's offices and the smaller police departments that do not have that type of training close to them.
I think it's going there too, ain't it? 2 to 5.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now let me talk about these from them. The first one you'll see on there is a high school diploma or a GED. The working group, I think, was surprised to find that that's not a requirement under current Ohio law. Since that time, however, the Police Officers Training Commission has voted to include this as part of the administrative code. So that has taken place. The Ohio General Assembly is reviewing legislation which could codify Ohio Administrative Code requirements of a high school diploma or GED for peace officer basic training applicants and removing the minimum hour cap. House Bill 204, sponsored by Representative Tim Derrickson and Representative Nathan Manning, passed the House on June 17th by a vote of 96-2. It's now pending before the Senate Government and Reform Committee. So these are the things that have been, the big things that have been accomplished. So
We don't need that. You need 3 or 5.
our working group. Now let me talk about these for a minute.
Where you get that list?
The first one, you'll that these were areas where the working group felt there should be more emphasis.
Go to
The
4 or 5.
advisory group also recommended the
Go to 4 or
minimum number
5.
of hours to be completed, basic
Go to
trainings
4 or 5.
to solve their
The law enforcement profession and the desire to make it better through our training initiatives. At the end of April, I stood before a similar group and accepted the advisory group report of recommendations on behalf of the commission. At our November meeting, with most of the advisory group members present, we had an update on the status as what's being accomplished over the past 6 months. In short, of the 25 recommendations, 8 have been completed, 11 are in the process of being completed, and there are 6 still on deck waiting to be explored. As Mr. DeWine mentioned, there are currently few requirements to enroll in peace officer basic training programs. While some applicants have been evaluated by an academy or agency prior to participating in that training, many have not. And even for those who have been, there's no required standard of what the evaluation may include. Having consistent entrance standards for all individuals entering the profession will help ensure better qualified and prepared students and future officers for the state of Ohio. As the commission discusses and decides on what actions to take on these entrance standards, I can assure you that the well-being of Ohio, including both our citizens and our officers, will be at the forefront of those discussions and decisions. Thank you.
I'm sure.
We can stop it there. Alright, so you heard this now. This is the training of training officers. That's what he is. Now, this man right here, Mike DeWine, supports this guy, Bernie Stanforth. He supports him. He's on his board. Also, he's in charge of training of police officers. But, think about this. This is in 2016, 2017. Okay? How did this make so many errors on my daughter's homicide if he's training police officers on how to handle cases and stuff? How did that many errors get made? How can that man stand there and say, I don't know why Detective Brown didn't go up in your daughter's room and collect evidence. I don't know why the clothes were destroyed. I don't know why I made the errors I made in this case. And this guy supports him. And this guy right here, Mike DeWine, is the roadblock. Because like I said, his job is to overlook all cases in the state of Ohio and to make sure they're being handled properly. And he refuses, this one right here, Mike DeWine, refuses to come to Fayette County and talk to the father of Mackenzie Taylor Branham. This is the roadblock. Right here. And I know this because of the phone calls people made today and what this one's office, how they answered it. And how this office answered the people that called about Mackenzie's case. This is the roadblock, people. Pay attention. That's the roadblock right there. Right there. And right there he said that the training is to what? To make police officers bond with the community. And you just heard what Vernon said at the podium about everybody letting the citizens know what's going on, the whole 9 yards. And look at this, right here. That's the roadblock of Mackenzie Taylor Branham, right there. Proof, evidence, right there. And this is about the training that they're trying to change and try to make better. And then remember, what did he say? Did y'all hear what he said? At the end of April. That's when my daughter was murdered. I'm telling you guys, I showed you already proof back a few months ago. He don't care about nothing but one thing only: becoming the president of all sheriff offices of the United States. You know, the Record Hero, like I said, they already put the picture in the newspaper just a couple weeks ago, him standing there with Donald Trump, because that's what he cares about. That's what he cares about. Man, if you guys think I'm lying, look at the evidence I've collected in 1 year. 1 year. And I ain't got a badge. I ain't got nothing. I'm just a father of a child that was horribly murdered, crying out for help. And this is my roadblock right here. This is my roadblock. These two people right here. That's why this Mike DeWine right here, this man, is the reason that his employees hung up on me. And this is the reason he hasn't come down here, because you know why? He can't answer the same questions he can't answer. They can't answer what went wrong. And that's all we asked. We asked, just be honest with us. You're all, he's sitting right here saying he's for the citizens of the state of Ohio. He's sitting there saying he's for the citizens of the state of Ohio. But they won't answer our questions. They won't answer our questions. They won't answer what went wrong. This is why I'm upset. And it's, I can't stand it, but he's even put it in the paper, the sheriff did. I'm just a disgruntled father. You're damn right I'm disgruntled. You're damn right I am. I am so pissed because you didn't do your job. And your job was to make sure your employees was handling the case. You and Ryan McFarland, the new detective on this, both sat there and said over there at that annex building a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, that I will notify you every day and update you on Mackenzie's case. I will call you once a week and update you on Mackenzie's case. 2 weeks gone by, guess what, guys? Ain't had a phone call. Not one phone call came up to me and said, we're going to tell you what's going on with Mackenzie's case. Not one phone call. Not one. In over 2 weeks. So, this is my roadblock right here. This is what's got to get out. This right here is corruption. And I'm telling you, I can prove it. This is corruption. This man does not care that an 8-year-old child was murdered in Fayette County, which he's above our county. He doesn't care that that 8-year-old child was murdered in Fayette County, and he won't come down and investigate what went wrong. They can't even tell me what went wrong, but I can show you guys. I've showed it, what went wrong. And what went wrong? At 2:02 is when they brought my daughter out of that house. At 2:02, dead. At 2:03, they should have been working that case. They should have been roping off everything. They should have been going around that whole morning talking to witnesses. They should have... And I get tired of hearing, well, this person's dead, this person's dead. We can't go back and that. Let me tell you something. 6 years ago, they weren't dead. Half of Mackenzie's case of years going by, they were still alive. And you're telling me the sheriff sitting in that chair at his office in that first 6 years didn't question nothing? Didn't ask? What's going on, man? This is a case that we should have... I mean, what's going on, Detective Brown? What are you doing? What are you collecting? I mean, nothing. Nothing, man. I'm telling you right now, this person right here and this person right here cares about one thing and one thing only in Fayette County. Or in the state of Ohio. Drugs. That's all they care about, because that's where the money is. Drugs. That's where the money is. Because every drug dealer that they get money off of goes in their bank account to pay out for whatever they needed to use it for. But because there's no drugs involved in this child's death and no money involved, they could care less. Now, this man right here, you heard what this was. This was a training in 2016. This man right here, and I've got it. I've got the photographs of this man right here, Mike DeWine. He asked in 2016 to turn over all unsolved homicides in the state of Ohio. That's what he asked for. Okay, in 2008, there was a murder that was an arson in a county only 40 minutes away from us, where a mother and 2 children died in it. That case has already been turned over. And when you go into that unsolved part of Mike DeWine's page, it shows that case. And you keep going down, you keep going down, you keep going down, and then you run to the end. But you don't see Mackenzie in there. You don't see Mackenzie's in there. You don't see her case in that file that he asked for. He asked for it. But Mackenzie's case is not there. And that was in 2016. And if you get on that site, right now would be the best time to get on the site. You will see that that person, Vernon P. Stanford, has not turned over Mackenzie's case where everybody else's case is. That's unsolved in the state of Ohio. And he asked for it. But this man supports this man. See, ain't it funny that he's on all the boards that have to do with BCI, State's Attorney's Office, all these boards he's on. All these boards. And I showed him on that brochure all the boards he's been on. How can you be on that many boards? How can you be vice president and president of some of those boards and you make that many errors on one child's death? One child's death, you make that many errors. And he had to know that, because I've called his office. I've called that office.
That same guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, so
That's all right.
I'll tell Rick to cut him off. Oops.
Yeah, we will. I can take care of that.
Right.
That's what I was saying, you guys. Right there. That's my roadblock. And we got to shut it down. We got to cross over that roadblock right there. And the only way we can beat this roadblock right here, and I hate to say it, it's sad, is in 2020. 2 more years. Because that's when he's running, and that's when he's running. And then our votes is the one that's going to put those 2 in those chairs. Or our votes that we don't vote won't put those 2 in that chair. Think about it right here. This man right here. Y'all heard his voicemail on his phone when you call. He's there to protect. Who's he protecting? This? Is that who he's protecting? Because he ain't protecting that little girl that's buried down there in Jeffersonville. That ain't who he's protecting. Because if he was protecting her and her rights, then he would find out why this one made all those errors. He don't care. He don't care about Mackenzie Taylor Branham. Next time you call Mike DeWine's office, ask him, hey man, is there a Blue Ribbon Arson Reward poster of Mackenzie Taylor hanging in your office? I'll guarantee he tells you no. Guarantee he tells you no. Come on, you guys, I'm telling you, the answer is right there. And I proved it tonight, what I was talking about last night. Right there. Shows you it. And you think about it. We have how many counties surrounding Columbus? How many sheriffs surrounding Columbus? But guess who's the only one there? Giving the speech, talking. Unbelievable. All I can say is one word. Wow. That's all I can say. Wow. And then today proved it. Proved it today. Because like I said, if this sheriff's office had anything, They would call me in. You know what? I'll put it this way. I started my daughter's investigation full blast in 2017. They have never asked me to come to my house, sit down with me, and go through every document I have to make sure they did get everything from me. They haven't even asked. They don't want this solved. You better realize it. They don't want this homicide solved. These two right here don't want it solved. Remember, this is the one that office approved that CPS did their job. That they didn't make any errors on my daughter or my sons. I can prove them wrong 1,000 times over. I can prove him wrong. Mike DeWine, Vernon Stanford. I can prove it wrong. I can prove it wrong. And don't ever tell me that you check every case and that you investigate every case, because you don't. So, like I said, tonight I wanted everybody to see that roadblock that is preventing Mackenzie's case from going anywhere. I'm being straight up, straightforward. This is right here. You heard what he said. This is so we can get better educations and better police officers on the road and everything else. But if you're the one handling that and you're the one training those police officers and you made that many errors, how are those police officers learning anything? And then you're going to sit there at that podium and say, I'm here for the citizens so that we can bond with the citizens. How are you bonding? How are you bonding? Because you ain't bonding with me. I just proved that over and over. So that's what tonight's live feed was about. Like I said, Mackenzie always finds stuff. Mackenzie always puts it in somebody's heart and their hands. And then that person brings it to me. And that's Mackenzie working. That's Mackenzie saying, please don't give up on me. I've got more. It's there. I will find it. I will give it to my dad. I told you guys, Mackenzie lives through me. I'm her voice. And she's showing exactly the people that's supposed to represent the state of Ohio and what they do. That's what they do right there.
And the one know if you take 5.
Can I take 5?
No.
Yes, I can take 5. We'll play a song.
No.
I'm going to take a 5-minute break, you guys. And then I'll be right back. Sorry about that dude. Sorry about that dude. Does she want me to read her message?
No, she said, can you take 5? And she said, thank you. Buffalo got off her, so.
Whoa, just got kicked out. Crazy.
Got that cruise.
No. No, he's right there.
Oh, there we go. Because he said he's been kicked off a couple times.
Sorry for spam. What's that mean?
He was constantly saying stuff.
Facebook blocked his page.
Hmm?
I think Facebook did it. Because he was commenting too much.
Okay. You said it over there. I don't see nothing. Sound unless you want me to take 5 minutes.
That I'd have to say goodbye, you were so bad. I'm so numb, I can't feel anymore.
Keep calm.
Keep calm and flick over.
That's impossible in this house.
And tell me, God knows why. I'm just
Wait, check all that.
round the road.
Did you block him? You message Glenda.
Always made my troubles so small. You were always there to catch me when I fall.
It's fine. If I do it, I'll pause the video.
Here, show that picture to
Where
me. That one
heroes come and go.
with her wings.
God just took the old one I know. So I'll hold you as close as I can. Longing for the day
You got rid of
when
mine.
I see your face again. But until then, God must be
Block.
another
Okay.
angel around the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside of me, and I will hold on tight. It's not my place to question, only God knows why.
No,
I said he
I'm
messaged her.
just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight. Sing hallelujah, hallelujah. I'm just jealous of the angel around the throne tonight.
Alright guys, please listen to me. This is very important to me, and I mean I put a lot of time, a lot of heart, a lot of soul into this case of my daughter Mackenzie. And I don't need people on there threatening anybody or making any threats to anybody. You know, my daughter was murdered horribly, and I don't need somebody on there trying to ruin what Mackenzie has put together to get justice for her. And so please, you know, I mean, I understand there's a lot of things that upsets a lot of people, and it's all right to say, wow, it's all right to say, man, you know, wow, you know, I can't believe this, or, but to threaten somebody or do bodily harm to somebody, I can't have that on my page. I can't have that on my live feed. Mackenzie don't want it on there, and I told everybody the other night that if I catch it on there, you will be removed, and you will be, I mean, because this is, you guys got to understand, this is 12 years of pure tears, heart, sweat, of getting where I am today to get justice for Mackenzie, and I am not going to allow somebody destroy that. We all know that one person already tried to destroy it, you know, and they tried to shut down Mackenzie's live feeds. And like I said, I will remove you, or I got other people that watch, and they will remove you immediately, because like I said, I can't have that. I put too much time into this for my daughter. Too much time into this. And this is about my daughter. This is about justice. And I can tell you right now, there's family members on the other side that want the same thing I want. They want justice for Mackenzie. They support what I do. They commend me for what I do. They're coming forward with information, and I don't want to ruin that. They, you know, she's got uncles and aunts, and she's got a grandmother up north that want justice for Mackenzie. And if you're going to get on there and you're going to threaten the law or threaten people, I won't have it. I won't put up with it. It'll immediately come down. Like I said, I've already had 3 people try to shut me down, and it didn't happen. This is the letter. This is the letter that says it was dismissed. The stalking order was dismissed. And I've got too much into this. And if it gets shut down, it's going to stop us getting justice for Mackenzie. So if you care about Mackenzie and you care about me and you care about my kids and my family, then please just hold your threats. You can say anything else, but do not make a threat on my live feed. And I'm just asking, sincerely. I asked last night. I guess there's a person on there tonight I didn't know, but I guess he didn't learn his lesson. We won't see him no more on there. I know there's going to be people that's going to make fake accounts and try to come on there and do stuff, but like I said, as soon as we catch it, you're out of there. You're off of there. You're not going to be able to make remarks anymore of any threats. I'm here to get justice for my daughter, and that's all that matters. What matters is justice for that little girl. That little girl didn't deserve to have what happened to her. And like I said, she's got uncles and aunts on not my side of the family, on the other side of the family that want the same thing. I've talked to them. They want justice, just as bad as I want justice. So please, no threats to anybody, and everything will be fine. Like I said, tonight was about what I recovered, the facts and the fines, and what I have put together, and what I have right here in this binder, and these papers here, and these totes here, and these tape recorders, and this tote here full of papers, is everything I've worked hard for to get justice for Mackenzie. And I'm not going to let somebody ruin that in 5 minutes. So I'm just asking everybody to no threats. You can say anything else. Like I said, I agree with everybody saying that no mother leaves a child in the house. That's not a threat. That's your opinion, and you have the right to your opinion. And I agree with all the women in the world that you don't leave your child in a house that's on fire. You don't leave her there to burn. So if everybody could do that, we'll be fine. Tonight, like I said, I just wanted to show you guys the roadblock of two certain people that are buddies. And everybody knows when you hear the old buddy system, the buddy system. And Mike DeWine, if he's any of a father, he would have came down here and talked to me, listened to me, and then checked into investigating and finding out what went wrong. That's not fair to me. It's not fair to this community. It's not fair to her uncles and aunts and grandma. It's not fair to her friends at school, her classmates, her teachers. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to Mackenzie's Army. So all I can say is remember in 2020 when you vote, watch who you vote for. Or you're going to be sitting here in the same chair I am, looking at your child behind me and saying, wow, what went wrong? Why did this happen? And think about it. I told you that was all about training and what they're going to change and what they're going to do. And that was in 2016, 2017. And I've been crying out for 12 years that something was wrong down here in Fayette County. I have made, I guarantee you, over 5 million phone calls. And that's not exaggerating. I probably wrote over 100 letters. I went and met with everybody from the FBI to BCI to the fire marshal to ATF. I've met with them. I've sat down with them. I've told my story. And I keep getting the same thing. We can't do anything as long as Vernon P. Stanford says it's an ongoing investigation. And we can't do anything as long as he keeps saying that here's what we got, we're working on it. And then they say, well, that ain't enough. He knows what he's handing them. He knows what he's giving them. He knows. He knows what he's withholding. That's the reason of these live feeds, so that people can share this and get it out there all over to the state of Ohio that there is an issue down here. There is a problem here in Fayette County, and that we're the only ones that can change that. We're the only ones. And like I said, this ain't a job. They don't have a job where they punch in, punch out on a time clock, and they have a boss. We put those people in those positions. We give them those chairs. That's what we do. We're the ones that let him stand up there at that podium and say, I'm here for the citizens of the state of Ohio. Well, you forgot one down here in Fayette County. And think about it. I'm only 45 minutes away. 45 minutes away. And I guarantee us taxpayers pay the gas that goes in his car. So, you know, what is he out of? There's nothing there. Time? I've waited 12 years. That's a lot of time. 45 minutes to 12 years. Think about it. That's all it was, a 45-minute drive to say, hey, I want to speak to Mr. Branham. I want to see what he got. I want to hear what he's got to say, and I want to find out what's going on. All you got to do is ask questions, not sit there and have your employees hang up on me, or have your employees say, well, he don't have time to meet privately with anybody. How don't he? He's in charge of VCI. He runs VCI, who investigates crimes. He is in charge of crime victim witnesses, who investigates domestic violence. He is also involved in, like he just said, trafficking in the state of Ohio, drugs. He's in charge of all this. But he don't have 45 minutes in a day, in an 8-hour day, 45 minutes, 7 days a week, to make a trip to Fayette County and talk to the father of a child whose case is still unsolved 12 years later. That should have been solved 3 months after that fire happened, maybe even less than that, if they'd have done their job. So do I have the right to be disgruntled? Yes. Do I have the right to be pissed? Yes. Do I have the right to voice my voice? Yes. I am an American citizen. I am a voter, and I want answers to why this went wrong and why my child is still unsolved when it shouldn't have been unsolved. And I can prove that it shouldn't have never went 12 years. And to even go to that sheriff's office and say, hey, I just want to fix it, make it right, and still go another year and they don't fix it. They don't make it right. They want to say, oh, you're disgruntled. You're telling all the community everything. Man, you know what? I go back to the key thing here. There wouldn't be a Mackenzie's Army. There wouldn't be a Donald Branham voice. There wouldn't be a live feed if you'd have done your job right in the first place. You cannot blame this on me. You cannot blame me for telling the truth to the community of your errors. You can't blame me, because when I was first notified that my daughter was dead, I was a father lost in a world, crying every night on my pillow, thinking this is a dream. My little girl's coming home. You, the state of Ohio, Mike DeWine, who is supposed to be there for victims, you re-victimized me and my family because you didn't do your all's job. Not only was I a victim, not only was Mackenzie a victim, but you re-victimized me because I had to investigate my own child's death. You re-victimized me. Your agency didn't even send me an advocate when my daughter died and was told that she was murdered. No advocates ever came to my home and said, I'm here for you. I'm going to help you through this and show you what you need to do and what you need to file. Nobody. And you know what I feel? I feel I feel that was bias. I feel what? Because I was a man? Because I was a father? Because I was concerned about my daughter? Or was it because in the beginning, everybody wanted to blame Donald Branham for the homicide? And you took your mind off of the actual what really was going on and what happened. And then when you realized you couldn't blame Donald Branham for his child's death, you were too late. Everything already had happened. Things already were disturbed. Things were already destroyed. Things were already misplaced. Things were already discussed. And now you can't go back and clean that up because it's gone. Now you're re-victimizing me because now you're going to blame me. You're going to blame me, the father, because this is why it can't be solved because of your mouth. Come on. Quit making excuses. Quit pointing the finger. You need to turn the finger and point it at yourself. I am not the one that told Detective Brown not to go in that house and collect evidence. I'm not the one that told to take that child to Fayette County Memorial Hospital. I am not the one that did not tell them not to remove the clothes and put them in evidence bag. I'm not the one that told my detective don't go collect that DNA for 6 years. I'm not the one. I'm not the one. I'm not the one that made those choices. I am not the one. But like I said, the big key here is you re-victimized me. Can't look at it any other way, Mike DeWine. You re-victimized me. An agency that you are in control of. And I even made a phone call 15 times and said, hey, I don't know what I'm doing down here. I don't have an advocate. What do you mean you don't have an advocate? Nobody's came to me. 15 calls. 15 times I actually talked to somebody and said that. And you know what they do? They put in the paperwork in an envelope and they mailed it to me. Not send me an advocate. Not call my county and say, hey, we need to get an advocate over there with Mr. Branham and find out what's going on and all that. That's what I said. Come on, man. I got proof that I made those phone calls. I got proof that I talked to people on the phone. And you ignored me. You re-victimized me. You made me have to go solve my own child's murder. Something I should have never had to do. You think me as a father, it wasn't hard enough for me to carry that 3-foot white coffin across an empty field and put my daughter in the ground, that I would thought that day when I buried my daughter, that 12 years later I would have had to look at the photograph of what my daughter looked like in that coffin? You think that's fair to me? Because you got a sheriff that lied and said the clothes were wet and singed, and I knew they couldn't have been. So I had to go and pound the streets and get these photographs, and then I had to look at them. I had to invite 6 people, actually, I think it was, come to my house and sat with me when I looked at those photographs. Because I didn't know what I was going to do, what I was going to say. But my baby girl said one thing to me that night. Thank you, Daddy. I'm glad you heard my voice. I'm glad you listened to me. I'm glad you're there for me. Because if you weren't, I would be a nobody. Dust in the wind. Think about that. When you go to that poll and you vote. You vote. Because, see, that's another thing, too. None of these, law enforcement, Mike DeWine, none of them, hasn't even come to me. Not as the State's Attorney General office. Not as the Fayette County Sheriff's Office. But they haven't never come to me as a father and just sat down and listened to me. But I guarantee you one thing. If it was, and I've said this 100 times over, if it would have been their child, I guarantee you they would not be going through what I'm going through. Guarantee you that. I'm guarantee you that. So my question to them is, how am I any different than the President of the United States? How am I any different than Mike DeWine? How am I any different than Vernon Stanford? How am I any different than Ryan McFarland? I'm a father. How am I any different? Why am I being treated, and Mackenzie's case being treated different than if it was one of their own cases. I thought in the Bible it said all men are created equally. I thought that's what it says, ain't it, in the Bible?
Yep.
All men and women are created equally. So, God's not happy, because I can tell you right now, I ain't being treated equally, and neither is Mackenzie. You can't take one day, full day, and say, we're going to work on Mackenzie's case. You can't even take one full day out of 7. And I guarantee you, I know, 7 days, we don't have that much crime here. It ain't like every day we're waking up to a shooting, a murder, drugs. I mean, so I just can't see where, I don't know what they're, I don't understand. I'm trying to figure out where my tax money keeps going. That's where I'm trying to figure out, where my tax money going? Are they sitting there, you know, just playing on Facebook? I mean, we all know they don't answer the phone until November. You know, November, that's when they answer the phone. Next November, I can call, and it'll probably be still on there. I guarantee if I call right now, I can play that, and I will. Matter of fact, hand me a phone, please, somebody. Hand me a phone.
Oh my God. I get it going here.
Let's play this.
There's one here from where I called him last night.
No, I don't want Mike DeWine's. I'm going to call the sheriff's office.
Oh.
Oh yeah, we got it. I want to show everybody. Well, I think we are in the month of March, right? This ain't November, right?
Give me a second there. Yeah. Stand by.
Let's play this for everybody.
Stand by.
Stand by. Oh.
Technical difficulties again.
Yeah, I'm not the brains of a. I mean, I try to do the best I can for everybody. Let's do this. 1740 335 3504. I think that's the number. It's pretty bad I don't have to get out of the phone book to call somebody.
At no additional charge, AT&T can help you find a similar business in the same area, since the number you have called is not in service. Please.
Damn, what did they do? Disconnect their phone?
Blocked you.
Hold on. Let me. Well, I surely know the other number, so we'll just do this. So everybody knows. Yes, ma'am. Can I have the annex building, please, so I can leave a message?
Okay. Do you know whose extension you need to leave a message with?
Ryan McFarland's.
Okay. Do you know it's number 4?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I'm just making sure. Hold on for me.
Yes, ma'am. I've called it enough times, I know it's number 4. Where's your keypad? All right.
Thank you for calling the Fayette County Sheriff's Office Annex Building.
I'm going to push number 4.
Please hang. You've reached Captain Ryan McFarland. I'm out of the office right now. If you'd leave a message, I'll get back in touch with you. Thank you.
Oh, they changed it. Oh, they changed it. They changed it since last night's live feed.
Yep, they watched your feed.
They watched my feed and they changed it. Because I just called the other day and it said, I'm out of town for November 15th, 16th, and 17th. They changed it. Or they probably changed it because of all the phone calls that came in today.
Good bit.
I'm sorry, you guys. I was wrong on that one. I was hoping that, but I guess he changed it. But like I was saying, this is about Mackenzie, and that's all that matters to me. And if you're going to blame me, then blame me for messing this up, but I don't think I did. I just wish I had I just wish I had the degree, and I wish I was a prosecutor. I really do. And then I would have took my own kid's case. I mean, I really do, because I know I can convince 12 jurors exactly what happened that night. But also, if I was a detective, I'd have already had 7 people in my office, and I'd have been getting statements from them. And then I'd have read those statements, and I'd have connected the dots, and then I would have brought in 3 more people. And out of those 3 people, either 3 weren't going home, or 2 wasn't going home. And I'm going to tell you, that's the God's honest truth. With the evidence that I have collected, 2 of them would not be going home, for sure. I can tell you that for sure, because of the arson itself. And like I said, I know we can put just those 2 people in that house with nobody else there within an hour of that fire. And from their own statement, they were the only 4. There was 4. They blamed 4 people being there that night. But one of them admitted he left at midnight. We all know that fire didn't happen before midnight. So they're the ones putting 4 people there. I'm saying that person wasn't there at the time of that fire. I'm saying that. But there was another person there. They're not asking about that person. So, I don't know. I don't know. I wish Jamie Potter was on here, because Jamie Potter was on here, and I'd ask him right now. I'd ask him, hey, has the Fayette County Sheriff's Office notified you yet? I really would love to know, because like I said, I spoke to him a couple of days ago, and he said no. And I thought by now they would have brought him in, talked to him, got a statement. And, I mean, it takes a real person to come out with information like that. And
he's here.
Oh, Jamie, has the Fayette County Sheriff's Office, have they yet questioned you about what you discussed or anything?
He said, no, sir.
Thank you, Jamie. And that's a big deal, you guys. This is a person, this is Mackenzie's uncle. This is the uncle that was there that night. This is the uncle that wants just as much justice as I want. And this is a man that was there within an hour of that fire, maybe less or maybe more, but he was there within minutes of a fire. And he wants to help, and they don't even contact him. They don't even contact him. And he has information. He has information. And they don't even care to ask him for that information. Why? Why would you not? I don't understand that part. And then, like I said, I know there's some other people that's on here. I know I'll ask. It's up to them if they want to say it or not. But I know I have other witnesses out there that was up during that night, seen the fire that night, all that. Has anybody notified any of you witnesses, if you're on here tonight live, has anybody notified you about that fire? I'm going to give a little time to see if anybody else wants to come forward and say, no, they have not. I know I kind of, it drags, right?
A little bit, yeah. Somebody said you called Trump.
Huh?
Somebody said call Trump.
Why would I call Donald Trump?
He get on him.
He's the one giving Vernon Stanford the job. I don't need to call Donald Trump.
Yeah, Vernon's surrounded.
Alright guys, here's what all I got to say tonight is I'm glad I got to share what I wanted to share with you guys. All I'm asking is share it. Share it, man. I mean, man, get it out there. Somebody eventually will come across it and see, and they will hear it, and they'll come. So I'm asking everybody to share it. I'm asking everybody, this ain't about Donald Branham. This ain't about anybody but one person, Mackenzie Taylor. This is what this is about. And I would want any parent, I would want any person like me to support any parent that has to go through this. Because I can guarantee you there's more out there just like me. There's more parents out there with no answers. And there's more parents out there with answers, but nobody wants to listen. So, like I said, we're the ones that we're the ones that vote. We're the ones with that pencil in our hand. And we're the ones that bubble that little bubble in. And I'm going to tell you right now, I do not want Mike DeWine as my governor. I do not want Vernon P. Stanford as my sheriff. Or any above any sheriff's offices of the United States. I do not want a prosecutor that's scared to prosecute a case. I am not going to vote for them. And as we get closer to 2020, you're going to hear more of Mackenzie's voice. And you're going to hear more of her story. And it's going to get out there. Matter of fact, I'm taking the Blue Ribbon Arson Reward poster, and I am going to get copies made as soon as I can get the funds to do it. And I'm going to run off a bunch of them, and I'm going to mail them out to Canada, to everybody I can get them out there, and let's get them posted everywhere. Everywhere we can get them posted. I will get copies made, get them printed out as soon as I can get the funds up to do it. We'll get the posters everywhere. Now, I will tell you one thing. When I was in Miami County at my stalking hearing, I took a poster with me. And as I was leaving and getting on the elevator, I asked the sheriff deputy there, hey, do you care to hang this in your sheriff's office and put it in Miami County? And he said, with a privilege. It would be my privilege to hang this in our office. And they took it and they hung it in the Miami County Sheriff. So guess what? Mackenzie is now in Dayton. Mackenzie is now in Miami County. And I guarantee you, she ain't hanging in the jail. I guarantee you that. But she's out there. Mackenzie's out there. She's now in Dayton area. And I know there's more people in Dayton area. I know there's some stores and stuff. I want to get this poster back out, and I want to get it out there because those are important numbers. Like I said, my live feeds brought witnesses, but Mackenzie's poster might catch somebody, and it might catch that one person that was there that night of that fire, and it might catch their eye. So I want to get those posters made, and I want to get them out. So I want to thank everybody tonight for listening in. I'm glad I got to share and update everybody of what I have discovered in my daughter's case in 12 years. And I don't know what the sheriff's office could have. I really don't. To me, they have nothing. Because how can you have something if you ain't even talked to a witness? How can you have something if you ain't talked to a person? How can you have these things that you're supposedly... And all I can tell you right now, the only thing that Fayette County Sheriff's Office did at that crime scene, and I'm going to tell you, the only thing they did at that crime scene was they put that yellow tape up that says, this is a crime scene at Fayette County Sheriff's Office. That's the only thing they did. They wrapped that house with that crime scene tape. That's all they did. That's it. Because I guarantee you they didn't collect nothing out of that house. I know they didn't collect nothing out of that bedroom. They already admitted that. Nobody went in that bedroom but the fire marshal and the firemen that rescued my little girl. And I will say rescue. Even though my daughter came out of there dead, he rescued her. He risked his life. 2 firemen did. Risked their life to go in that room, knowing they had a family at home themselves. And they went in that bedroom, and they pulled my little girl out of there. Yeah, the outcome wasn't the best outcome any parent would want, but they did bring her out. And I did get to enjoy her. And I did get to see her. I did get to hold her. I did get to kiss her before we put her in the ground. So they did bring me something out of there. They brought my daughter out of there. That's what they brought. They brought my child out of that house. And like I said, Mackenzie lives. She's not dead. She lives. And I can tell you that she lives is because she touches so many people. She goes to people in their dreams. She goes to people and touches their hearts and says, you know, like tonight, I'd have never thought in a million years somebody was going to call me up and say, hey, you won't believe what I found. And they sent it to me, and I watched it, and I thought, are you kidding me? I said, boy, Mackenzie, you're something, girl. You ain't going to let this die. You ain't going to let it go. So I thank everybody. I love everybody. Like I said, you want to pump hearts for Mackenzie. I hope you do. Kiss your children goodnight tonight. Tell them you love them. Say a prayer with them. Hopefully this live feeds that I do and stuff will bring more fathers out and understand. I know eventually I'm going to do a thing one day that I'm going to show you guys all Mackenzie's stuff, read it and everything, let everybody see Mackenzie's her life, what she was all about. And everybody knows this is my favorite song, Somebody Else's Story, because it is. It's always somebody else's story out there.
I wanna be a part, I wanna be a part.
It don't matter.
Somebody finding love, somebody finding love unfailing. I wanna be a part, I wanna be a part. Somebody finding life, somebody finding life everlasting. I wanna play a part, I wanna play a part. Somebody finding hope, somebody finding hope in God of heaven. It's my desire, Lord, you would use me, change somebody else's destiny. I wanna be the part, I wanna be the part of somebody else's story, somebody else's story of redemption. I wanna be the one, I wanna be the one to shine the light of Jesus into their darkness. So lead me to that someone, I pray. Lord, I wanna bring you glory. It's somebody else's story. Somebody else's story. I wanna be a part, I wanna be a part. Somebody finding comfort, somebody finding comfort when they're hurting. I wanna play a part, I wanna play a part of caring for the widow, sheltering the orphan. It's my desire, Lord, you will use me to change somebody else's destiny. I wanna be a part, I wanna be a part of somebody else's story, somebody else's story of redemption. I wanna be the one, I wanna be the one to shine the light of Jesus into their darkness. So lead me to somebody else's story, somebody else's story of redemption. This hope in me was not meant to be contained inside. I've got to give it away, give it away. This hope in me was not meant to be contained inside. I've got to give it away, give it away. I wanna be a part, I wanna be a part of somebody else's story, somebody else's story of redemption.
Alright, first of all, I want to say I love my mom. I saw her, she wrote that she wished she could be here. And I know she does, but I know one thing about my mom. She knows she raised a strong son. And she knows that I'm going to fight this. No matter the outcome, no matter what happens to me, she knows I'm very strong, and she knows it's going to happen. And she raised a good son. Like I said, I wasn't the best son. I gave my mom quite a few gray hairs in her time. But she did raise a strong son. And she knows, one thing my mom does know is I love all my kids. And I've never
we got 30 seconds.
Gave up on my kids. This is a photograph I want to show of my daughter. Right here. Somebody drew this for me. Of my daughter, what she would have been as a teenager. Can you get it in there?
Maybe.